So my name is Chris Abed Canchola. I'm the Manager of Examinations and Self-Instruction for the AGD. This is my 21st year with the AGD doing this. I work with the exam council and committees to develop the fellowship exam, as well as to develop the annual study guides. I assist the course director on developing this review course, and I work with the self-instruction program through the Journals of Impact in General Dentistry. I work with that committee to help develop the exercises so you guys can take them for CE credit. Just some background for you. I am a dissertation short of a PhD in research and statistics with an emphasis on test design. So I've been developing exams and scoring exams for quite a few years. So factual information about the fellowship exam. It consists of 252 multiple choice questions in 17 different dental disciplines. You have 4 hours in which to complete your exam, and there's no breaks that are given. If you need to go for a washroom break or, need something to drink, you can step out of the exam to do that. Please note that you will not be allowed extra time at the end for the amount of time that you're away from your exam. The exam content outline is reviewed each year, every couple of years, to make sure that the content is current and relevant. So those questions that you should be answering are there, and those that are no longer current in the field of dentistry go away. So in 2012, the fellowship exam changed. 2 new disciplines were added: anesthesia, sedation, pain management, and pharmacology, and special dental care. Special care dentistry. So because this year, 2020, is a little bit different than the rest of the years, we are not offering a live face-to-face exam. So all of the exams are on the computer. Testing centers, our testing company is Prometric/SMT. They have 95% of their testing centers currently open. So what you first need to do is complete an application and submit it to the AGD with your payment. Once we receive that application, we process it. You'll receive a confirmation email from ISO Testing that will contain a username and password, as well as a link to the computerized testing company. You will need this information to log on to set up your testing appointment. And what that means is once you log on and you put in that information, all you have to do is, select the fellowship exam, and then choose your state and choose the location where you would like to take the exam. You will choose the date and time, and then they will send you a follow-up confirmation to let you know that you're registered for that date and time. You need to show up about 5 to 10 minutes early to make sure that you check in and to get situated. You will need to bring your government issue picture ID with you. You will not be allowed to sit for the exam if you do not have an ID, a government issued ID, meaning passport, driver's license, or state ID. And the address on that must match the information that you had on your exam application. Okay? Any information that's different, say you got married, your driver's license is still under your maiden name, and you've already changed it. You haven't changed your driver's license yet. It's still under your maiden name. They will not allow you to test. Okay, so please make sure all of that information is correct. Personal and electronic equipment are not allowed in the testing room. They do have lockers in which you need to, you can put your information in there, but they will not allow you to bring it into the testing center once you sit for the test. Okay. The proctor at the testing center will get you situated and start the tutorial for you. Once you've completed the tutorial, the exam will begin. You are given exactly 4 hours in which to take the test. the tutorial part does not count as it. Once you hit that last question at the end of the tutorial and it says start exam, that's when your 4 hours starts. Okay? Every effort is made to keep the room quiet for examinees. You have to take into account there are extraneous noises sometimes. We do recommend that you bring earplugs if you're sensitive to the noise. The fellowship exam consists of multiple choice questions as well as complex true-false. There are no essay, short answer, or K-type questions. And there is only one correct answer per question. Choose the distractor that best answers the question, completes the statement, or indicates whether the statements are true and false. Please don't read too much into these questions. The answers that are given are the answers that are meant to be. If you read more into it and you don't see that information on the screen, and you try and argue the point that, well, all of this extra information should have been added, it will not be taken into consideration. You will fail that question. Please keep in mind the biggest thing is that there's no penalty for guessing. So it is to your advantage to answer all the questions on the test before the exam expires. My advice is to take the last 5 or 10 minutes to make sure you've answered all the questions. On the computerized exam, you do have the option to mark a question so you can return to it. Make sure you've hit all of those questions before the end. Don't spend too much time trying to answer one question. The time you waste on one question, the time you waste on one difficult question, you could have used to answer several other questions that are easier in nature. So it's to your advantage. Again, if you can't answer it right away, mark it and move on. In addition, some of the other questions on the test might jog your memory for the one that you were not sure about. So just keep that in mind. Your exam score report will be provided to you immediately following the exam. Do not walk out of the testing center without that, okay? Please note there is no CE awarded for sitting for the exam. The AGD has never offered CE for taking the exam, and there's no change in that in the foreseeable future. So if someone doesn't pass the exam, God forbid, then they will not be allowed to sit and take retake the same version of the test. AGD policy only allows members to take each version of the exam only once. In terms of a passing score, there's been several questions in the box about what percentage. There is no percentage for this test. It is a raw score. For the 2020 exam, the raw score is 151 points. We do not work on a percentage rating for the reason of if someone scores a 65.5, their argument is, well, if you round up, then I have the 66. We don't round up. We just use a flat score. Okay? Yes, the score report is your actual score. Pass or fail will be immediately noted. So if you're looking to try and walk next year in Austin, you know, God forbid that, or God, everything works out that we can actually have an in-face meeting, and you want to finish all of your requirements before the end of the year, you need to have everything done by December 31st. That means pass the exam. That means complete all of your CE, and as well as submit your award application. If you miss the deadline, there will not be an extension. So in terms of the exam, at any time, let me correct myself. If you have a score of 151, you do pass the exam. If you do not pass the exam, say you sit for the 2020 and you do not pass, the 2019 is available. So we have 3 months out of the year. October, November, December, are the 3 months out of the year where the exams overlap. So the previous year's exam as well as this year's exam are both available. So don't pass 2020, you can fall back and take 2019. Took and failed 2019, you can take 2020. If you have, for some reason, not passed either one of them or missed that deadline, the next exam will not become available until June of the following year. And that, when I say June of the following year, that's face-to-face. The computerized version does not come up until October 15th of 2021. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any other information that I could provide you. Please note, in terms of the study guide, I've had several people ask, there are no live test items in any of the study guides, nor do we release any old exams to members. This is done to maintain the security of our testing program. Please don't forget to complete your study guide practice quizzes. For those who have not completed them up till now, you can earn an additional 15 CE hours by completing the practice exam. The way you do that, open the online study guide, go to the question section, and the question section is actually the practice test. Fill in the bubbles. At the end, there'll be a submit button that will automatically submit it to the CE entry team that will add it to your transcript. Please keep in mind that you are only allowed a maximum of 15 hours, regardless of how many editions you've purchased for the study guide. It's 15 for the lifetime of the your transcript. So let's see. Let me go back and look at some of the questions that have come up, and I'll try and answer as many as possible. So let's see. Are there any locations of Toronto, Canada for testing centers? I believe there is. Until the exam, we'll be able to. The exams, as I said, each exam is available for 15 months. So the 2019 exam will go down January 1st, 2021. The 2020 exam will go down January 1st, 2022. Deadline for the application, again, if you're wanting to walk next year in Austin, December 31st is the deadline. If you don't pass, how do you take the exam the following year? Each year there's a different exam? Yes. Each year there's a different exam. We start building the exam. In August of each year, and then it takes until the scientific session the following year for that exam to be completed. Let's see. How do you know which exam you have signed up for? You can contact education@agd.org and ask the question. It's not an automatic thing. That information isn't visible to you. We would have to go back and look to see which exam you were signed up for. When do you get your score? Before you walk out of the testing center. Your score will be on your score report. If you fail the exam, do you have to pay the $600 again? Yes, you do. When do the practice exams need to be completed by? So there's no deadline. You can do the practice exam and the study guide at any time. Once you do it, then the CE will be added on to your transcript. Please note too, you're not penalized for the score on the study guide. You know, there's 100 questions. If you get 18 of them wrong, you're not going to fail. It's not a pass-fail exam. It's you've completed the work and you've submitted for CE hours. How much time is the exam valid for? For the life of your membership. Once you take the exam once, you never have to take it again. Yay. I get a lot of yays for that one. How soon will we find out if we passed or failed the exam after we completed the exam? Again, no greater than 5 minutes after you've taken the exam at the testing center. What is the deadline to take the exam? There is no deadline if you don't plan on walking for Convo. If you're planning on walking for Convo a couple of years down the line, you can take the exam any time of the day, any day of the week. Generally, Saturday and Sundays are tough for testing centers. Not a lot of them are open on Saturday and Sunday, but you can sit. And it's my recommendation for those people who are not planning to walk in Austin next year. You're better off waiting and taking the exam after the first of the year. You have to remember that all those people that are trying to complete their award applications are doing it in this 3-month time period. So the testing centers are jam-packed full of people. And now that the testing centers have taken precaution for COVID, they have cut down their attendance, meaning they're testing cubes. Some have cut it down as much as 50%. So it's much harder to get into the testing centers. I recommend that if you're not going to walk next year in Austin, wait until after January to sit and take that exam at a testing center. Can we access the recorded webinars sooner than December 10th? No. And as I've explained this before, the reason being is all of these recordings have to be edited. They have to be built into our software system that we have to release the information. And for all of those people who were not on or missed part of it, say you couldn't attend on Wednesday and you missed all of the recordings, the only way that you can earn your CE for those missed webinars is to take and pass a small mini quiz that's attached to each of the recordings. If you sat through all of the live recordings, then you don't have to worry about the quizzes. But all of this information is tied together, and therefore it will take that long for the information to become available. Can you tell us again what the link is to access the practice exam that will earn us 15 hours? So everybody was sent an email, a welcome email at the beginning of your registration for this course. In that course, there was a link to the study guide, the online study guide. If not, you can go to the AGD website, log in, go under Member Center from that pull-down menu that has the 3 little bars. Click on the words Member Center, and then scroll down to the bottom of the page where it says AGD product page, and then you'll see a link where it says Access Online Study Guides. That's the easiest way to get to it. So there's a question about the CE entry right now. I've submitted a lot of hours, but they're still only approving stuff submitted in April. If applied for the award, will they finish approving it? So just to bring you some background information, when everybody was sheltered in place and all of this happened with COVID, the AGD normally receives about 50 to 200 pieces of CE, that members have submitted. They have to be approved once we receive them. In the months that the AGD office, as well as the rest of the world, was shut down due to COVID, we received something in the neighborhood of about 63,000 pieces of CE. As such, yes, they are behind. It is the goal, though, to have everything caught up by December 31st. And just note that if they are not caught up, on the off chance, and anyone submits an application for an award, that will be taken into consideration at the time. What generally happens is they will try and pull all of the CE that you submitted so they can approve it, so they can go ahead and review your application. Let's see. A previous email said to get credit for the live review, we had to do a quiz after. The quizzes, So if you participated in the live review, you do not have to do a quiz. It is only for those people who missed the live portion. They need to listen to the recordings and then do the quiz. But there is no quiz for the live portion. Let's see. Does this mean that you can take the 2019 exam, and if you don't pass, you can retake for 2020? Yes, you can. If you don't pass 2019, then you do have the option to register and take the 2020 exam.